Hey guys, welcome back. I am doing my video today on breastfeeding in the first 2 days after you've had your baby. Lots happens during these first 2 days, and in these early weeks, it is super important to get breastfeeding right. So watch my video today to find out how you can set yourself up for your best chance of success at breastfeeding. If you're new here, let me introduce myself. My name's Jen. I'm from jenniferbutler.com.au. I'm an early parenting consultant dedicated to helping you get to know, understand, and support your baby so you can love being a mum. I'm here every fortnight with a brand new video. If you're interested in knowing when I release those, I encourage you to head over to my website, sign up to my mailing list, and when you do, I send you a free clean sleeping guide, which is my fabulous first point to creating the best conditions for your baby to sleep well. And I mean, hello, everyone wants sleep. I know I want sleep and I follow this to a T. So head on over to the website, download that, and it will sit pretty in your inbox in no time at all. Okay, so my video today is a bit of a passion subject because with breastfeeding, honestly, the first few weeks of breastfeeding are make or break for a mum. Now, some mums can have a super hard period and will continue breastfeeding no matter what. But for a lot of mums in those early weeks when you're already sleep deprived, you've got a new baby to look after and maybe even more children, if things aren't going well in those early weeks, then it's very easy to give up. And fair enough, I can understand that. With my first son, Max, I was so ready to throw in the towel so many times. And look, I'm glad I persevered. It got so much easier, but it was hard during those hard weeks. So I'm talking about the first 1 to 2 days of breastfeeding. So let's focus on day 1 first. So after the birth of your baby, usually what tends to happen is your baby will have a lovely, really good feed at the breast. And after that, they actually tend to have a really long sleep. So in that first day, it seems as though they just have the sort of one feed and then they can sort of sleep up to 6 to 8 hours after that initial feed. During the first day, the best thing that you can do is lots of skin to skin contact. So your baby might have had that beautiful feed after birth, and then they might just be happy to spend the day on your skin next to you in the comfort of your heartbeat and your warmth and everything that they've just come from. But that will help to promote your milk supply even in just that skin to skin. So my recommendation for day 1 is to just focus on that skin to skin contact. If your baby does wake before that 6 to 8 hours, that's absolutely fine. We feed to demand. But don't feel like you need to wake them in that time. They'll be happy to have had that big feed and then to have a nice big rest period after that. So the best thing that you can do during your time in hospital, if you are in hospital, or if you've got someone coming to visit you at home, a postnatal doula or a midwife, whoever that is for you, what I want you to get them to do is get them to watch you feed. If you can get a few different health professionals or the same health professional to watch you feed and to get your positioning and attachment right, you are setting yourself up for a successful breastfeeding journey. If your baby isn't attaching properly in those early days, it leads to nipple damage, which can lead to a whole array of breastfeeding issues, pain, discomfort, anxiety and fear about feeding, and your baby also isn't getting the milk they need. Your milk then won't come in as it should, and you can see it's a recipe for disaster. So work on your positioning and attachment and get a trained health professional who specializes in breastfeeding to get you to have a look at that feeding so you get it spot on from the get-go. Now, if your little baby isn't attaching no matter what you do, fear not. There is another way that you can feed your baby your breast milk without the need to top up and give formula. The thing with starting to give formula in these early days is that once we start to top up with something other than your breast milk, that's formula that is taking up the space for breast milk. So what I mean by that is if you even give 20 mils of formula, that's 20 mils of breast milk your baby then won't go on to take. So it can just lead to that cascade of not making enough breast milk. So what you can do is express. So learning how to express is again something that I would suggest getting a trained health professional to help you with. I am going to do a video on the technique of hand expressing. In the early days, you can only hand express because the colostrum is thick and it's really hard to use a breast pump to extract that. So it is an art to learn how to hand express, but it's an art that I strongly encourage you to learn. And then once your milk comes in, you can use an electric or manual breast pump. So life gets so much easier. You're only looking at hand expressing really in these early days. But yes, if your baby isn't attaching, then hand express, and you can offer that milk that you express up to your baby via a syringe or a cup or your finger or all sorts of lovely things. Once I do my video on hand expressing, I'll link it below in the notes so that you can see how you can learn how to hand express and find out the technique there. Now, there are circumstances where a little baby is born and perhaps they're not as alert and ready to feed as we would like. So certain circumstances that may include that are babies who are born a little bit early, even a baby that's born, say, at 36 or 7 weeks versus a baby born at 40, 41 weeks. That's a 3-week difference in development, and that can even impact how well a baby feeds. So whether they're born early, whether they're still feeling the effects of pain relief from labour. So if you had some morphine or pethidine, if you had an epidural, things like that, they can impact your baby and how well they feed once they're born. Other things like tongue and lip tie, that can impact how well a baby attaches to the breast, whether they have any developmental or health issues when they were born, and other things such as if your baby has actually sucked on the thumb or finger in utero, sometimes that can mean that they've trained their way to use their tongue or to suck in a certain pattern that perhaps isn't correct for the breast. So they have to learn a new way to attach to the breast. And then there's some things that might be going on for mum, like some mums have inverted nipples, some have really big boobs that it's really hard to attach a little baby to, especially with their little mouths. So there can be things that can impact how well a baby can get on. But with the help of a trained professional, you will be able to find a way to comfortably attach your baby if you seek that help. So definitely get the help you need. Okay, so day and night 2. So usually after that initial lovely big sleep that your baby has, they are ready to go on a feeding frenzy. So this is the perfect opportunity during the day before this feeding frenzy starts, or when you get a chance, is to make sure you are resting. So keep visitors at bay, because these early days are so important to just, get stuck into feeding, and the visitors can come. Everyone's going to be dying to meet the new baby and to see you, and you're going to want to see them too. But please prioritize sleep, because your baby is going to be going on this feeding frenzy, and that's going to be impacting how often you're going to be getting some sleep. So allow for this cluster feeding to happen. It is so important for establishing supply, and it helps your milk to come in. The sooner your milk comes in, yes, babies will still go through cluster feeding periods, once milk's in, but they're getting higher volumes, and so they are able to stretch out feed. So it's well worth your while to actually allow for the feeding frenzy to occur. Make sure that position and attachment's right so that when they are feeding, you aren't getting really damaged, grazed, sore nipples. It's normal for there to be a bit of tenderness, if you've got a baby sucking at the breast, and, that's friction and movement in that area that your breasts are probably not used to. But there shouldn't be physical damage like grazes or cracks or things like that. So again, watch for that, correct position and attachment, get help where you need, and buckle yourself in for this feeding time. And once your milk comes in, which I'll talk about in another video, everything will start to settle down a little bit. Thank you for watching my video. I hope it's been useful. Please share it and send it to your pregnant friends, especially your pregnant friends, because they're going to be able to get this valuable information before they then go on to have their baby. But absolutely, if you've got a mum of a newborn, send it their way too, because this information still applies. Yes, they're past days 1 and 2, but it's got some valuable information in there for them to take further into their breastfeeding journey. Anyway, I'll be back here in another fortnight. If you love watching my videos, then hit subscribe below too. And then you're notified of when I release my new videos once a fortnight on a Tuesday. And don't forget to head to my website and download my clean sleeping guide. I promise you won't regret it. See you back here in another fortnight.